this episode of Roadworthy Rescues, we take on refurbishing a big tractor. Something a little different this week on Roadworthy Rescues. How about a big row crop tractor? This 1978 International 1086. And I've got to drive it over 50 miles back home on the highway. That's great. First time I'm seeing it, let's walk around it, see what it's gonna take to get fired up, and start getting some miles down. So the 86 Series International is probably the most iconic international tractor ever made. If you say, draw me a tractor, bam, here it is. This is the 1086 and it was followed by the 1486 and so forth. This makes 146 horsepower out of a 6-cylinder diesel. It's got an 8-speed transmission back there as well. These were made from 76 to 81. This one's a 78. You could tell because of the way that it is, basically. This one doesn't currently have duals. You can run duals on them. But this was your big farm tractor back in the day. You disc, cultivate, seed, hay, whatever, and I plan to pull a big baler with this thing for hay season. The engine looks like it's had some filters on it. Maybe the injector pump has been messed with. We could walk over to the other side, take a peek at it, and then I guess just jump in the cab and see if this thing fires up. Nope, I'm sure it'll have dead batteries or something. I'll meet you over there. Oh, she's straight piped. Just the way I like them. Oh, look at this. Okay. So we've got a friend along for the ride today. That seems fine. These filters, not so fresh. This one's probably 97,000 years old. It's had a charging whirler at some point, but otherwise we've got a lot of a ridge in here. You can see the IH casting on there. I really don't know how many hours this has. We'll try to figure that out though as we continue to look along. Surprised that it has doors on it. Normally the first thing you do on these is take the doors off. That one's locked, you know, security purposes. These are normally mangled off. We still have a step. That's pretty cool. Rear tires are super weather checked. This thing is raw tin. It does have the dually hub though, so that's great. Let's go around back here and check out the business end. Got the business end of the 1086 back here. Big, beefy, fully adjustable 3-point here. Adjustable drawbar on this, side to side, in and out. And it's got a dual PTO. You've got your 540 PTO and your 1000 PTO there as well. And all the hydraulics and everything else here. You can carry up to, I think, 80 gallons on these. There's a primary and some had an auxiliary tank as well. And you're gonna need that because these are not fuel efficient. If memory serves me correctly, that is correct. Other than that, it's just big red truck. If it ain't red, leave it in the shed, okay? Let's climb in this thing. We got some webs to move. My web deleter 400 here. Yeah, oh. Pretty sure that was a cockroach. Oh, it's a massive spider, actually. The seat says low hours. Also, I noticed the shifter isn't snapped off. Normally these break right here because you just have to slam these in the gears. All right. Oh. Yep, very uncomfortable. Okay, our torque amplifier is gone. Whoop, whoop. that didn't do much torque amplification at all. I love these consoles. It was kind of a precursor to what was going to come in the 80s. We got our ether, headlights, ignition, start button, all your basic stuff. Here you've got park, and you've got your high and low range basically in reverse. And then you've got your gear selector, first through fourth over here. And then you've got your hydraulics over on this side over here. This did have, you know, the ACs, but it's been slightly modified ceiling wise. I'm gonna guess that that doesn't work. Go ahead and open these up. So now as a tyke, this is where you'd sit. There or here. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and see if this thing fires up. We're gonna assume it runs. So I'm gonna bump it off here. Park. Ah, look at that. Nice. Sounds pretty good. All right, let me crawl it out of the shed. Start getting some miles down. The reason I'm roading this is like a 13,000 pound tractor. I don't have a trailer that's what bent in half basically, so we're roading it. Shifter handle came off. Okay, see you guys. Well, this is going to be all of today. Unfortunately, the very first thing I have to do is point this straight down a very steep grade. Speaking of which, I should probably check the brakes. They seem to work, and now they're kind of stuck. There we go. So I'm going to choose a gear that I can brake with as well. Steering assist works. Everything is extremely loose and falling off. Hours say 1,479, so it's either 11,000 or 21,000. Maybe 31,000. I don't know. This thing is hammered. It's the cheapest 1086 I could find within 100 miles. One of the reasons I wanted a 1086 as well is I do want to run duals on this because there's a lot of side hills in Tennessee. That'll be hay. And it's nice to have the stability. We're going 17 miles an hour. It ain't wide open. Reason being is these will start bouncing really bad and they can get you bucking. And then the front tires are just dangling and it gets super sketchy. So, plus I don't know if this overheats. Nothing. Oh, I guess we're throwing it on the interstate. Forgot about that. Why not? Ah! 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 Oh, I think we made it. Ever. Oh, this is a good spot. I got a little hungry and a little thirsty, so might as well run in and get something. Boop, boop. Jeep looks small. So a guy just just finished up dinner. We got the International 1086 back on the highway. We've got 31 miles back to Bicycle Garage. I'm gonna start making a list tonight of things that need repair, upgraded, updated. Tractor needs a little bit of help, but seems to be running great so far. And it's not getting hot, which was one of my biggest worries. So I guess 2 or 3 more hours of this and we'll be back, hopefully. Oh, some samples. You gotta go around people. I can't go any faster. Oh, speed limit 35. Well, let me slow her down with that. Nope. Ah, crap. This is freshly planted. I did not see that. Now I feel really bad. Check on the allergies. Woo! Shortcut through a neighborhood, I guess. Yeah, I know I look like it, but I'm not UPS. Okay, ladies, settle down. Well, what a day. We made it. Over 50 miles on the road. We made it back to Bicycle Garage's Southern Tennessee, which is where we're going to be working on the 1086. It runs really, really good, but I still have a lot planned for this thing. That's going to have to wait until tomorrow, because right now I've got to jump on another tractor and hay for the rest of the night. So we'll see you in the morning. Yesterday, I roaded this 1978 International 1086 over 50 miles to South Central Tennessee here, where we're going to be sprucing this thing up. Now, this 414 runs great, albeit noisy and leaky and smoky, but that's just normal, right? So for once, I don't think I got to do anything with the engine and transmission or anything else like that. So we're going to put the time and effort into the looks department. And I could tell you the interior in this thing is absolutely trashed after spending an entire day in the thing. The seat's gone, all the foam is gone. There's no accoutrements or anything remotely nice. Not that you have to have that in a tractor, but if it runs good, it should look good. We're gonna start with paint, and it would take me weeks to hand sand all these old sun-faded decals and everything off this tractor, so we're bringing in our friends again, and they're gonna blast this thing for us really quick. It's gonna save us a ton of time, and we're actually going to be painting the exterior of this tractor, and I've even got decals. It's going to look cool. So one of the huge benefits about having this blasted over sanding it is also I don't have to tape off any of the hoses or rubber or plastic. They have a material made of glass that's abrasive enough to get all of this paint and rust and stuff off of the tractor, but it's not going to hurt anything else, and it just falls into the ground and goes away. So I'm out here making 5x5 brown bales, and I'm using a newer E-Series John Deere tractor. Now, ironically, I have severe outdoor allergies, which, right, growing up on a farm and doing this stuff is not ideal. So this tractor was critical for me with the closed cab and the filter systems and everything that it has, which brings me to a point. There's a lot of pros and cons with new equipment versus old equipment. One of the biggest cons of newer equipment, any farm equipment, is the cost. It's tremendously expensive today, but it's very, very comfortable. You get air conditioning and fancy radio and lights and very accurate digital displays and gauges and things of that nature that can make farming and ranching a lot easier. But in this particular case, as you can probably hear right now, this thing is bogging trying to pull this bale up the hill, which is why some of that older equipment, you just can't beat it. That 1086 has literally twice the horsepower as this tractor, and that's why I need to hook it to this baler. Crawling around the hills of Tennessee, this tractor just is not cutting it. For that, I can use this for running the hay conditioner. It'll do just fine there, and that's when my allergies are worst. And then I can put the brute on and pull the baler up these hills here. Right now I'm just watching the bale monitor, trying to make sure we get a nice round bale. And we're getting close to ejecting one here in just a minute, actually. Well, the guys have been out here blasting for the better part of a day, and it just goes to show you how much time that's actually saving. It would have taken me weeks to hand sand this thing to get ready for paint. Now, not only do we have Tennessee's cheapest 1086, but we're discovering I also own the rustiest 1086 maybe in the nation. The bottoms of the doors, the door latches, the roof, the top of the roof, anywhere where metal touches metal, that joint, there's no joint. So there's going to be a lot of spray foam and silicone and tape, and I don't know. It's going to get weird, but it'll have color soon. The only way to close the door on a 1086 is to slam it as hard as you can. But after years and years and years of abuse, this whole latch mechanism was basically just hanging by a thread. So the door was flopping around. So I'm welding in this box again, getting some structure back into the cab, trying to weld through rust and bent up stuff. We're not gonna do everything. We're gonna do the basics. So even though this whole tractor, particularly the cab, is just a rod box, I couldn't live with the rust in the bottom of the doors. So I'm going to town, putting patch panels in. You gotta cut it out, put new fresh metal in, grind it down, put just a skim of Bondo on it. I'm gonna keep messing with that tonight. It's gonna be a very long night, but I've gotta get this done before we roll it into our blow-up paint booth thing. But soon, we'll have color on this thing. Well, hey, good morning. Back on the International 1086. I just finished up some body work on the doors here in the hood. No longer looks like Swiss cheese, which is great. I'm going to stop there. There's a tremendous amount of work that can be done. I've got to make the cab a little bit more water sealed, but we're going to call that good enough. Going to move on to the rear duals. If you ask any tractor owner, their favorite thing is switching tires and adding or removing duals. Said no one ever. It's very physically demanding and extremely dangerous, so I'm very excited to jump in. Now, we're gonna be doing some tire swap-a-rooning here. We're gonna take the inside off. This has gotta go down and get replaced. It's chunked, it's weather checked, it's not gonna last. And we're gonna put a dual on the outside for now so we can wheel this thing into our bouncy house paint booth thing. I don't know what's happening. We got bottle jacks and boards and pry bars galore. Let's see if we can get it done. Right now we're playing Jenga. We got some treated 4x4 posts, and I'm cutting blocks out of it. And we're gonna stack blocks, I don't know, 1.5 feet high at least, then jam in a bottle jack. Try to not make it lean any direction. Bottle jack it to where we can get this tire hovering, and then try to slide this off without it toppling over. It's gonna be a good day. So the reason I'm trying to take the hoop off of the hub and just take the tire and the hoop off instead of the whole wheel or rim assembly is, well, first of all, this dually hub would need to come off. Someone booger welded it. That would need to be ground down. This is the weird wedge and bolt style hub. You got to try to get this bolt out, which relaxes like a wedge that goes in here. And then you have to try to slide this off of the axle shaft. A tremendous amount of work. So instead, I'm going to try to maneuver this hoop off. We're gonna temporarily mount a dual on it to move it around. And then when these get wrapped in the rubber, we have to reverse what was done. So this is actually a crew, not the hired farm hands. They're just manhandling it. They got the younger, lower back, it says, you know what I mean?
Wind up.
Okay, let me jack it a little. There we go.
Oh, we're on.
Wow. That was too easy. Take it off. Let's do it again. Look, the duals are on, but the insides are gone. Who knew they had disc brakes? They're even drilled. Yeah, sorry about that one. Anyway, now we need to finish sanding the tractor. Yes, we are going to sand at least some of it, not any of this stuff, but the hood panels and things like that. I got to get a couple panels off. You know, I at least want to get somewhat goodish, okayer paint on it. Just good enough to where we can run it into the tavern again, and looking out the window, it looks great in the parking lot. We got a bunch of rot and rust in here, and I need to fix this right because we're in Tennessee. It rains a lot, just like today. We don't want moisture getting into the cab. Plan on doing something with the interior. I gotta patch the roof. So I've talked the crew into helping because there's a lot of metal. So we're using the old International scaffolding system here. Should work fine. Safe. Well, the guy's finished what little body work he's going to do, or I should say want to do. Cab should be pretty sealed up, and boy, is that thing insulated now. It's really gonna keep the heat in. Great. We're gonna go ahead and roll this outside and try to drive it into the bouncy castle you see back there. Hopefully the thing fits and the exhaust pipe doesn't burn a hole in the ceiling, because then it would just... Whew. So there's 4 colors that comprise this whole tractor, basically. And I'm gonna stick to a traditional look, but I am gonna make a couple small changes. A, because that's just the way I want it. And B, I'm lazy and it'll be easier. So hear me out. We're gonna do the red, International red. Everything you see is red, 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 red front wheel. The cab, however, traditionally the post is white, the roof is white, but right here on this door line, these are actually black. The frame of the door and the frame of the window is black. I'm not gonna do that though, because we'd have to come back and tape a third time. I'm just gonna run this line here, The cab will be white. We'll use the textured decal on the back and make sure that that's done correctly. One of the bigger changes you're either going to love or hate is going to be the duals. The hoop was a silver color and the hub was red. Instead of doing that, I'm actually going to paint both wheels, the whole thing, the hoop and the hub, white. Kind of give me some different colors with the cab. And then, of course, you've got the radiator panel up here. This will be white here as well. So those are our main colors. We're going to start with the white, get the cab done, get the wheels sprayed, let that dry, and then we'll come back and blast this red in, and that's when things are really going to start changing. Should be fun. So for paint, the guy's keeping it simple, and we're keeping it cheap, of course. You know me. Keep the billfold closed. We're going to use the Krylon Farm and Implement paint, just a basic white. We've got the reducer for that, and we've got the catalyst, or basically a hardener. We're gonna mix that 3 to 1 to half, and that's gonna be our single stage enamel, essentially, our white color, and we'll have the same product for the red. But the cherry on top, or the chef's kiss, is I'm actually going to add in the Vice Grip Garage white or spray-on clear. With its activator, we're gonna do a 75 to 25 mixture, so 75% enamel with 25% clear, and it's going to give it a really lustrous shine, and it should protect that color very, very well. So let me mix up some batches here. We're going to go in, we're going to use this El Cheapo, no brand name gun, and lay down some color. What's the worst that can happen? It's gray right now, right? The white's laid on, it looks fantastic, although I have to admit I'm not as agile as Billy Goat anymore. I struggled there a minute, but we're waiting for this to dry. Unfortunately, two things are hindering us. One, I laid it on super thick, and the humidity is very, very high. It's actually raining right now, so it's hindering our dry time. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to tape and do red tonight. We're gonna have to let this dry overnight. Tomorrow morning, first thing, we're gonna lay bright red International paint on this tractor. It's gonna look awesome. See that? We're back the following morning, getting ready to lay down some red paint on the International 1086. The white looks great. That's all taped off. I've painted a lot of tractors, nothing this big. It's going to be interesting and new. Going to crawl around underneath and do the rear end first, then get into the flat metal. Let's turn this thing red. Hey look, the tractor is red. It looks fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to see this thing all unwrapped. And I've got decals for it and a full Western interior kit you guys have got to see. It's gonna be great. But I put this paint on really, really thick, let's be honest, especially towards the end. The guy was getting a little woozy. We're gonna have to let this dry. It's probably gonna take all day. So we'll see you, I don't know, we'll see you in a while. We'll get back to work. It's our final day on the 78 International 1086, and what a big project this has been. But look, the paint is dry. It looks fantastic. And Adam, the Tint Master 9000, is here adding 5% tint to the side windows and back windows of the cab, trying to keep this thing cool. Now, we have a tremendous amount of work. There's panels to go back on, stickers, exhaust, whole bunch of interior pieces, not to mention have to wrestle on the inside tires and put some front tires on. So I've asked the fine folks that help make this TV show to help. Yeah, the guys holding the camera and whatnot. So we're all gonna tackle this thing, jump in, try to get this thing done. And hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be dragging around a baler with this thing. Oh, I think I see the problem. Might have forgot one bolt. Oh, now we know. The front tires just aren't gonna cut it. One's extremely bald and the other one is mismatched. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust these off and roll on some new rubber for the front here. I'm gonna jack this up, take some measurements from the face of this hub to this wheel, and then we gotta bring in the other one, which has 2 options for offset on that wheel. And I think we're gonna have to put it on the closest to the outside lip to put the wheel more in to leave room for the dual. I'm really hoping I nail it the first time because these tires aren't exactly light nor easy to move. So I'm actually trying to use tape measures and protractors, and I might have to get a compass or something, but there needs to be precision. About a 5-inch gap in between the duals. Okay, I'll push, you lift. A little more rotation. There you go. And now let's let the jack do the work. How are we looking? This pipe ain't gonna cut it. Ha-ha! That. Hey, so we're actually gonna tackle the interior on this because as you can see, it is absolutely thrashed. There's no telling if this is 11,000 hours or 21,000 hours, but it's had all of it. All of the seals are shot, they're broken, they're shattered. There's a bunch of foam that should go on the sides here. There's sound deadening and insulation that should be in the ceiling. There's a lot that's missing or just worn or in terrible shape. So I'm gonna spend pretty much all day putting in new weather seals, door seals. I've talked to even the camera guys in the helping figure out the puzzle. We've got like 50 pieces laid out on the ground right now. We gotta figure out where everything goes in here. But this interior, when we're done, is gonna be, I'm gonna say it, show quality. So this is the old command center. It's an old 6361-1A. This is a newer one. This is a DC-1A. They're similar-ish. I'm gonna plug it in and hope that it works. I don't know if we have to change any wiring, but essentially it'll show you mile per hour your engine RPM, and then your PTO speed, whether you choose 540, 1000, and then you can set your exhaust gas temperature alarm, and it'll also give you a coolant warning. So this just slides in the dash over here. It has a big pin connector. I'm gonna hook this one up, turn the key on, and hopefully this lights up. I've already verified that we have power on this ribbon connector, so I don't know, we'll just cross our fingers here. Since the guy's going this far with the rig, I figured we might as well make all of the lights work. Yeah, that's right. I voluntarily started working on wiring, and that brought me up to the front here and put in this nice new upper grille assembly, but then quickly realized the bottom grille now doesn't match. A little bit of a rattle can rebuild brought that right back around. I'm an international harvester! 'Tint Master 9000 did quick work of the 5% tint, so I went ahead and talked him into putting on stickers. It looks great. Once again, I talked the crew into helping. There's so many pieces in here. They just jumped in and started stuffing foam and all the crevasses in here. But wait until you see this interior done. It's not only gonna look great, but it's actually gonna seal the cab up really good and give us some sound deadening as well. What a transformation this cab has gone through. It looks incredible. It's gonna be quieter. It looks great. And it's gonna be much more sealed. Well, this thing is far from perfect, but it still is one of the nicer 1086s I've ever seen and one of the nicer I've ever operated. It is pretty slick. Just rough enough around the edges where you're not afraid to use the thing, get it to feel, get it dirty, use the thing, run her wide open to the windshield, but boy, from 20 feet away, used to be proud of it too. I wish my grandpa could see this thing. He operated his entire farm and ranch on 1086s for the most part. And we never understood why. They're not really the most comfortable. They're not the most easy shifting, but man, they have just an absolute aggressive classic look. And they're tough. The 414s are an incredible engine. Well, I hope he's smiling down, though. That's pretty neat, Deke. That's pretty neat. Now we're gonna hook onto a baler, go drag that thing around and see how this does compared to that John Deere. Starting high one. We can bail faster than that. It is high too. There we go. A lot more stable with the duals on. You don't get the side to side either with the tractor, which is nice. And it rides really good. The seat still works, which is incredible. There we go. Bring her down. Yeah, see, this isn't even wheezing. Even empty in that John Deere, which is about 75, 80 horse, you'd have to downshift or run her wide out to try to keep 540 PTO. This doesn't even know we're pulling anything. Yeah, sorry, we don't have any actual hay to pick up. I had to scramble and get everything done before about a week of rain hit us. We've been fighting that all week. So I've got everything done. We had a really quick first cut this year, which is actually nice for me. Do a fast turn. Side hill again. Nice and stable. We've got a lot left. The 1086, in my opinion, is one of the most iconic tractors ever. Just look at this thing. It looks absolutely incredible. And I think this proves the point. You can have a powerful, comfortable, cool-looking tractor, and you don't have to break the bank and have a huge mortgage to get something new. This thing's gonna do it all. Now, we did have to do a lot of elbow grease. We put new paint on this, albeit just cheap Krylon implement paint with a little bit of Vice Grip Garage Clear. The decal kit, 5% tint of the windows, chrome stack. We put some filters in it, but the engine ran so good. We drove this over 50 miles on the road back here to Vice Grip Garage. One of the big things we did was new rubber. We fought new duals on this thing, inner and outer, and that interior kit, that Western kit, looks absolutely incredible. New seat, new dash decals. We pretty much did everything we could on the inside of this, and now it's comfortable, pulls the baler just perfectly fine. So this ended up being a really nice tractor for not a lot of money, but it's not nice enough a guy can't actually use the thing, and that's exactly what I intend on doing. We're gonna put this thing to work. That's going to do it for this episode of Roadworthy Rescues, but stay tuned. There's plenty more to say.